Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of DGS. We have just had a bit of an incident in the courtroom right now, and we had it to be continued. So we're gonna go back into the court, into the case, and hopefully things will be okay. One hopes. Same day at 12:52 p.m. at Old Bailey, defendant's lobby. What the heck just happened?
Naruhodō-sama, I found out what's going on.
Susato-san.
It seems that a high-performance smoke bomb was dropped.
Smoke bomb? Oh god, here we go. Kimuridama. Suddenly, I just got slammed with Japanese. Like, I can't even avoid that. So it's Kimuridama. Like what ninjas use. Right now, the courtroom is undergoing security checks in preparation to reconvene the trial. But who on earth would have... I'm gonna remind myself that to drop a translation of what a Kimuridama is for everyone who is watching this. I need to get into the habit of putting translations for stuff like Kazumi Mangadol's name and other stuff. Anyway.
Someone attempted to flee the courtroom just now and was apprehended by the bailiff.
Attempted to flee?
Yes. It seems that it was a girl of around 15 years of age.
A girl? Could she be the third passenger Mangadol-san mentioned, I wonder?
I was thinking the very same thing.
So I was right. There was a third passenger. So then, what happened to Mangadol-san? There's so many things I wanted to ask him, but he hasn't returned to the lobby.
Apparently he was summoned to the prosecution lobby for questioning. Along with that girl.
I wonder who she could be. And I wonder why she showed herself in the courtroom in the first place. It simply seems like too big of a risk with no gain.
I've also been wondering about something.
What's that?
The 20 pence.
Oh, I see.
According to the driver, Beppo-sama's testimony...
Did you just wrote all this down in a book?
4 passengers boarded that evening at 5 pence a head. In other words, the profit would have been 20 pence. It adds up perfectly.
But now a 5th passenger has appeared.
And now it has ceased to add up again.
Huh. There's definitely something strange going on here. Defense! Return to the courtroom at once! Preparations for reconvening the trial have been made. It will commence in 5 minutes. Right, I'm on my way.
In any case, it seems safe to assume that that girl will be taking the stand. What will she say? Whatever it is will determine where this trial is headed.
Shall we go, then, Susato-san?
Yes.
Okay, game? Same day at 1 p.m., the Old Bailey, the full court. Ah, here comes my favorite girl. That small girl is standing next to Mangadol-san. It seems that she is the one responsible for that commotion earlier. We will now reconvene the trial of Kazumi Mangadol, Lord von Zeeks. Your Honor, curious smoke from earlier was identified. It appears that a military-grade, high-powered smoke bomb was used. How did she get her hand on a military-grade? Military? What's something like that doing? The individual who used that smoke in an attempt to flee the courtroom was apprehended. That's her. State your name. Were you the one responsible for causing the commotion here in the court with that smoke bomb? What on earth would possess you to do something like that? Ah, if I may, Your Honor. What is it, defendant? I believe it would be better if I explain.
what this girl is doing here and why she attempted to flee. It's all connected to what happened that night. Very well, the defendant may testify about this girl's connection to this case.
I don't think Baroque's gonna like this.
The night of the murder, I wonder what he'll say what happened.
You have talked to me about it first? More Naruhodō. The link between the murder and the girl.
That's right, I was seated in the back seat, sleeping. Oh, that's when I suddenly heard a loud noise and heard a small scream which woke me up. A man had collapsed on the floor before me, so I helped him up back into his seat. Then I fearfully checked for the source of the scream. To my surprise, this girl was curled up there, hiding.
Curled up what?
I'm afraid I don't really understand. You're saying that that night the girl there was riding the omnibus that had become the scene of the crime?
Yes, as my attorney proved for me earlier.
There was a fifth passenger in that carriage.
Very well. It seems that it would be quicker to simply proceed with the defense's cross-examination. Defense, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. Asked if I was prepared, but I don't have any idea what's going on here. Baroque seems to know, maybe, which might be a bad thing. Looks like we're pressing on everything here. When you boarded the carriage, were there any other passengers in there?
No, no one was inside the carriage, nor was anyone riding on the upper deck.
That would make you the first passenger then.
So I settled myself slowly in the back seat.
When you say the back seat?
Yes, just as you accurately indicated earlier, I was sitting across from the man who was stabbed. It was the most comfortable spot.
Well, you see, I couldn't have been peeped on through the skylight. That's rather convenient, my friend. I still don't know what to think of this man, though. A loud noise and a scream?
It was, yes, the sound of a person hitting the floor. It was like a thud.
So in other words, it was the sound of the victim, Morrison, falling after having been stabbed?
I've been asleep, so I can't say. Besides, when I awoke in the carriage, no one else was visible but the gentleman who was lying on the floor before me.
No one else. But that's also when you heard the scream, right?
Ah, could it be that you heard the scream from the upper deck? No, it definitely came from inside the carriage. But at the time, the scream was the least of my worries. Anyway, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Back into a seat? Are you talking about the victim?
Yes, into the seat across from me. I knew he was dying, you see. I'd feel bad simply leaving him like that. It was a thing they call compassion.
What a strange story, defendant.
Oh, whatever do you mean, Prosecutor Von Zeeks?
There was a man collapsed and dying in front of you. You should have called out to the driver immediately. If you were a typical Goodwill Londoner, that is.
As you're aware, I'm in a rather specialized line of business. Are you referring to loan sharking? There are even some ungrateful blighters who borrow money from me and then make attempts on my life. So I wish to avoid quarrels if at all possible.
So then, you intended to leave the victim's body like that?
Oh, no, don't. That would be unthinkable. Naturally, I plan to report it. I simply wanted to make the situation clear before I did so.
Situation?
Indeed. I thought it important to look into a few things that were bothering me first. For instance, the source of the small scream I heard. Be curious as well? The scream he heard along with the sound of the victim collapsing, huh? What do you mean? Didn't you say there was no other passengers in the carriages beside the victim? Correct, as far as I could see anyway. As far as you could see? Yes. When that man collapsed, the small scream I heard, I felt as though I heard it coming from somewhere beneath my bottom. What? Beneath your bottom? That's when I lifted up the cushion of the seat I was sitting in and had a look underneath. Actually, a compartment under the seat. Naruhodō-sama, we were also able to examine the omnibus. Come to think of it, it was presented as evidence, wasn't it? Perhaps we should give it a thorough once-over.
Sure, let's do it right now. And also, this will be my opportunity because I'm sure some people might have commented about it, and I didn't do it on the first time I examined it. I knew of it, I just forgot about it entirely. But the infamous Phoenix Wright Omnibus. There you go. All right. Let's go inside. Was that there before? Wait. Wasn't there stuff in here before?
The inside of the compartment is empty. There's nothing inside. What's going on? With this nagging in the back of my mind.
Something's changed. A couple of things have changed.
This is a blood stain, isn't it? Is something the matter? No, it's just this blood stain is very eye-catching, and yet Prosecutor Von Zieks didn't say a word about it. It certainly is strange. What is this? This uneasy feeling I have. What? In any case, I ended up peeking into the compartment.
There's been some changes in that omnibus.
Hiding. Yes, she certainly was. In the dim lamplight, when my eyes met hers as she cowered there, I thought my heart would stop.
This seems awfully fishy.
Yeah. In any case, I pulled her out of there and had her sit in the seat across from me so I could hear what she had to say.
When you say across from you?
Yes, next to where I had propped up the deceased gentleman. You made the girl sit beside the victim's body? I believe I stated this earlier, but due to my line of work, I sometimes unwillingly find my life at risk. That's why I thought it was necessary to find out who she was. Then, while I was speaking with her, I heard a man scream from above my head.
Could that have been the two-seated gentleman on the upper deck?
Indeed, that was my thought as well. They should have been able to see her from the skylight alongside the gentleman who'd been stabbed. In other words, that those two saw from the upper deck seat was not you, but the defendant. Not you, the defendant, but the victim, Mr. Mortar, and this girl. Precisely. Hyde was sitting in a seat that would have that wouldn't have been visible through the skylight, you see? That's true. You have a, rather compact figure. So perhaps it's not unthinkable for her to be mistaken for you. And then, hearing the scream from the gentleman on the upper deck, the driver stopped the carriage. That's enough. The court understands the situation. However, that still leaves us with one fundamental problem. Just who is this girl? It seems that her name is Gina Lestrade. Lestrade or Lestrade? Is it Lestrade?
Will correct me later because her name comes up several times anyway. I'm gonna call her Lestrade.
She conceals herself in places where people gather and steal their wallets. She's what you call a pickpocket.
What?
This girl is a pickpocket. Order, order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, answer me!
Oh, what?
What?
I was expecting his beard to turn pink.
Now see here, what do you think you're doing? Ah! The girl that was just standing there, she's gone. Just where are you looking right now? If you're looking for me, I'm right here. Whoa! When did you...
What was the point of that parallel displacement just now?
I know exactly what all you adults are thinking right now. That filthy little pickpocket screwed up and got herself caught at the scene she was working. In order to create a distraction, the captured pickpocket stabbed that passenger with a knife. I'm right, aren't I?
Not at all. The courtroom is a place for seeking the truth. We simply want to make sure... Green with envy.
As a pro, my whole livelihood depends on these fingertips of mine. My pickpocket's pride would never allow the use of a cowardly weapon such as a knife.
Is smoke not included under the category of cowardly weapons?
Oh, you mean this? I nicked it from someone's bag at the carriage station. Rather pretty, isn't it? I think I like the pink. Don't point it over here.
Hi, Baroque. We forgot you were there. So then, you were in the carriage on the night of the murder.
It's all right. Could you please tell them the truth? Yeah, it's just like this old man said. This girl, Gina Lestrade, is accepted as a new witness, and the court orders you to testify. About what happened on the omnibus on the night of the murder. Yeah, all right.
Oh my god, these two are so fishy though. The incident the girl witnessed.
That night, I snuck into the carriage like always before the horses were hitched up. But I had no luck at work. It was quite a terrible night. It was pitch black in my hiding place and I really couldn't see a thing. While I was in there, I suddenly heard a loud noise. It was enough to make anyone scream. And this old man found me, but he let me go.
He let you go?
What made you decide to let this girl go, defendant? Oh, there's quite a simple reasoning for that. I knew she wasn't the killer.
What do you mean?
As I mentioned earlier, I
was sitting on top of the compartment that she had made her hiding place. Let's see for ourselves. This omnibus is really bothering me right now. This is the seat I sat on the night of the murder. Her hiding place really is under the seat, isn't it? I can see how someone her size would likely be able to hide in there. However, she did not emerge from the compartment that night. You see, I was sitting on it the whole time. Oh! That's why I allow her to slip away. I was sure that if I notified the police of her presence there, they'd become suspicious of her and arrest her. I didn't want a youngster with her whole life ahead of her to be dragged into a cruel incident like that one. Because of that, doubt fell on you when you were arrested. Ooh. That is of little consequences. I'm aware of my own innocence. I put my own innocence on the line in order to save her.
That's so... What a noble spirit.
Your Honor! There's no way an upstanding fellow like this could be the murderer! I'm ashamed of myself for ever having suspected you.
Thinking about it calmly and logically, it's quite obvious which is the correct answer.
We did it! Oh, this means all 6 jurors have voted not guilty. Naruhodō-sama, this means... This means what? This is a victory for us. For us? This is all so sudden. I knew it! There comes the leg! There's the leg! How rude of me to so violently slam my iron heel upon this desk. I beg your indulgence. Now he means business. This is certainly the single and most greatest weakness of the great British court system. The law sometimes gives priority to sentiment over evidence and logic. Sentiment. This testimony, above any else we've heard, exposes this witness's true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? There's simply no way that Scotland Yard could have overlooked such a thing. When Scotland Yard examined the omnibus, naturally, they also checked inside this compartment. This compartment was stuffed with the driver's equipment. This is clearly recorded in the investigator's report. What? Someone has tampered with the crime scene in order to lend credibility to this testimony just now. They carry off the equipment that was previously packed inside. Eh? Good, it's not just me. Something is definitely wrong with that omnibus. Order, order! I'm afraid that simply doesn't seem possible. Of course, we must acknowledge police error in allowing such an opportunity to have been created. However, when the omnibus was brought to Old Bailey this morning, that compartment was most certainly not empty. Your thoughts, Japanese boy? You're asking me? This omnibus was presented as evidence. If you're indeed a lawyer, you must have also investigated every inch of it. What was the state of the inside of that compartment? Certainly you must know. Ooh.
Yes, Mr. Attorney. Certainly you must know.
Mangadal-san.
By all means, state it loud and clear. That Prosecutor Von Zeke's words are not but unamusing conjecture.
This is where things get tricky. This is the part. Everything that comes after this point is what makes this case really interesting.
Now then, what do you have to say, defense?
How am I supposed to answer this? What was the state of the compartment in the carriage? I didn't check it. It was empty. It wasn't empty. What I have been given to answer is the honest truth. It wasn't empty. I'm not sure this is the correct answer to give as an attorney. But as far as I can recall, the first time I investigated it, the compartment really did have equipment in it. That's the feeling I get.
What? Mr. Attorney! What are you saying? You intend to betray me?
This is rather unexpected. You're acting as the attorney of the man on the witness stand right now. For you to spout something so inconvenient for that man. What is proper as an attorney? Perhaps I still don't know that. But anyone who stands in this position cannot ignore their own memory and good conscience. That's what I believe. This is rather interesting.
We can't have this, Mr. Attorney.
Mangadal-san.
Mustn't forget that you're standing there as my hired help. Besides, memories are awfully vague things. You ought to take a good hard look at the facts. And how you look at it, that thing's empty. Your memory is mistaken. Don't you think you ought to just admit that?
What could be causing this feeling of unease?
Well, everyone, the court would like to hear the jurors' thoughts.
The purpose of the compartment is for storing tools for maintaining the carriage. Carriage Guild rules state that the tools must be stored in there. So it must have been that way that night as well. I trust Beppo. That celebrity and that pickpocket are lying!
Truth is, I'd nearly forgotten. These aristocratic twats are a cowardly lot.
No way.
That testimony just now, it was obviously dodgy.
In that case, if you will excuse me. If you think about it calmly and logically, the truth becomes clear.
That's exactly what you said last time. Your Honor, as you can see, it seems that a not guilty verdict would be unacceptable at this point in time.
Understood. It appears the court requires a cross-examination. Defense, the court would like you to conduct your cross-examination on these witnesses.
Right away. What's going on here? In the blink of an eye, the tide suddenly turned. So, this is Prosecutor Baroque von Zeke's... Alright, we gotta stop here, because after this there will be a cross-examination, and I don't want to start into that just yet, so we'll hold that off for the next video. See you guys then!